All right, guys, so I've been selling on Amazon since 2018. So I've been selling for 7 years. And in this video, I want to give you an honest review of what it's like to be an Amazon FBA seller. As Amazon definitely isn't for everyone. I'm going to tell you about the good bits, but also the bad bits as well. I've actually made some notes, and I don't normally make notes for videos, but I think this video is so important for new sellers. There's so many things I want you to be aware of that I will be referring down to this to make sure I get everything across to you guys that I want you to be aware of. So I'm going to start off with the positives. The first one, has it been worth it? Well, when I started back in 2018, I was probably in a similar situation to you guys, skeptical about the business model. It sounded great, but was it too good to be true? Was it a scam, etc.? Are people just making money from selling courses and stuff like that? So for me, it has worked out really well. When I started, I didn't realize that Amazon FBA was going to go on to become my primary income source. I didn't realize the freedom it was going to give me. It allowed me to shut down my web design business. So I had about 50 clients, but that's basically 50 bosses. So Amazon FBA allowed me to close that down. I didn't realize that it was going to go on to financially support me and my family, so that when my son was born 2 years later, my wife didn't have to work and I'd have the time freedom to be with him during his most important formative years before he started school. And I also didn't realize that it would give me location freedom. So we relocated to the country a couple of years ago. So for me, although I had hopes for Amazon FBA when I started, I never thought it'd bring me so many benefits, but it has. But it hasn't been plain sailing. And like I said at the start of this video, this is not for everyone. So I'm going to go through a number of points here to give you a realistic understanding of what to expect if you're considering an Amazon FBA business. So the next point, is Amazon oversaturated? This is a common concern I hear, and it's completely understandable. If you search for pretty much any product on Amazon, you're going to see hundreds of almost similar products appearing in the search result. Almost, it doesn't matter what you search, there will be a product on Amazon. So it's completely understandable that people think it is oversaturated. And I agree, the search results on Amazon are oversaturated, but they're oversaturated with often very poor, very cheap Chinese rubbish. Let's be brutally honest. These are the lowest quality, cheapest made products in many of the niches that you're going to be looking at. So where the opportunity is on Amazon is the more premium side of things. So you never want to go on Amazon and your selling point is price. You're never going to win a price war against Chinese factories and Chinese sellers. But as a UK seller, you understand the UK market. You understand that you have a percentage of customers in the UK that will always buy based on price, and you're not worried about those. There's also a large segment of the UK population that buys on either value or perceived value. This is why places like John Lewis, Marks and Spencer's, Waitrose exist. Yes, sometimes their products are better, which is real value, and sometimes their products aren't better, and there's the perceived value of the branding. So this is our goal with Amazon, is that you want your products to have either actual value, but even if it doesn't have actual value, still have that perceived value so that you can command a higher price point. And I've seen this so many times myself. I often order competitor samples directly from Amazon before I order from the factories. And it's quite interesting to see, I will buy products at different price points at £10, £20, £30, etc. And sometimes it will be the same product, just in different packaging and different branding. So Amazon and being successful on Amazon is all about perception. So you make your products better, you add additional functionality, you add additional benefits, you add additional design aesthetics. It needs to have a visual selling point, what I call a VSP, so that when a customer sees your products in the search results, it draws the eye, and then it has higher perceived value. So when someone sees you listed at £20, £25, £30, they still want to buy your product over the cheaper Chinese listings at £10, £15. So there is still an opportunity on Amazon. Yes, it is oversaturated with cheap rubbish products, but there's still plenty of opportunity for offering more premium, higher perceived value products. The next point I want to talk about is seller support and account issues in general. And I've done many of these annual review videos since I started selling on Amazon, and seller support always comes up. And unfortunately, it's still terrible. Despite the fact Amazon has great customer service, their seller support is like, it's shocking. It is so bad. It's hard to imagine how bad it is unless you've actually experienced it. So just be aware that if you do start selling on Amazon and you have any issues, that you need to have a network of other sellers around you. That's why I have the FBA Elite Forum, so we can all support each other, because you can't trust seller support. They often will just send you templated replies, and often the information they give you is incorrect anyway. So I like to think of seller support as, rather than seller support, they are like a driver of a vehicle, and you need to give them the right keywords and directions to get the result out of them. So don't think of them as support, think of them, the people, as you need to guide, say the right trigger words, and then you can get the result you want. And you can find that information from speaking to the community and stuff like that. And in terms with account issues, when I started selling, I read lots of scare stories about people having their accounts suspended and their products suspended. I've had very few issues. In 7 years, I had one product suspended temporarily because of a trademark issue. I mentioned the word Velcro on my listing, and then 3M submitted a complaint and my listing got suspended. But I haven't had any issues with my account being suspended. And recently, over the past few years, because Amazon have locked down kind of brand ownership a lot more, I've had pretty much no issues with hijackers for the past few years. So things are a lot better than I thought they would be. When I go onto the forums and I see people that are having account issues, often it's because they've made an obvious mistake. Often their identification and their bank account and company information doesn't all match up, or they've done something wrong with their product, or they don't have the right documents. So it's very, very rarely that someone just has their account suspended having done absolutely nothing wrong. There's normally something that can be remedied. So one of my biggest fears, I think 7 years in now, I can honestly say isn't as big a concern as I thought it was at the time. And when issues do arise, providing you take time, you don't rush into it with an emotional response. And that's another thing. Don't become an Amazon seller if you're emotional. You need to be able to park emotion, because selling on Amazon isn't about being fair. There's going to be the odd times when things aren't fair. You get a negative review you don't agree with. That's going to happen. Selling on Amazon, you're going to get negative reviews. It has to happen. So you need to be able to just park that and go, right, that's fine. I'm going to get more sales and more reviews. We'll drown that out, whatever the issue is. So if you are emotional, don't start Amazon FBA. But if you can park that or learn to park that emotion, then you have a great chance of becoming successful on Amazon. The next point I want to discuss is that, and this is the biggest change to Amazon since I started selling in 2018, Amazon has become pay to play. Now, what do I mean by that? Back in 2018, you could launch a product on Amazon, maybe run a little bit of PPC, get ranked and start getting organic sales. But now Amazon have realized how much money they make from PPC. So for most products, you will be running PPC at pretty much all times to initially launch that product and then maintain your organic ranks in the search results. So it's no longer a case of just having enough money to buy inventory. You also have to budget for PPC as well. So, which brings me on to my next point, is that Amazon FBA often requires more money than you think. And I'm specifically talking about private label here. This doesn't apply to arbitrage or wholesale. If you're starting a private label business and someone's trying to sell you a course and telling you can start Amazon FBA with £500 or £1,000, don't believe them. I mean, as an absolute minimum, £2,000 to £3,000, ideally £5,000 plus will put you in a good position. Unfortunately, the smaller budget that you start Amazon with, the more likely you are to lose that money, as you won't have the money to buy the inventory you need to stay in stock for a launch period, and you won't have the money for the PPC either. So if you don't have enough money, I would recommend being patient, or the best solution if you're trying to start Amazon FBA with a low budget is don't compromise on things like photography, trademarks, and all of that. The one thing to compromise on is choosing a lower demand product. If you pick a niche where you need to sell maybe 50 products a month to get ranked, that's much more obtainable for someone on a low budget, because then you maybe only need to order maybe 150, 200 units, and it won't cost you as much in PPC to launch that product. So if you are on a low budget, go into a low demand niche. Right, next point, fees and profit margins. So fees are increasing, or have increased every single year that I've been selling on Amazon. So it does continue to squeeze your profit margins, especially as Amazon have introduced new fees as well. And on top of the PPC that I just mentioned, it has become harder to make money on Amazon. So my recommendation now is that if you're starting an Amazon FBA business in 2025 or beyond, don't look at low cost products and buy, well, say low cost, low selling price products. So anything below £20. You may still be able to make money in the high teens, like 17, 18, 19 pound, but you need to really be in the 20, 25 pound, 30 pound price point. And you want to focus on the return on investment, but actually how much money you can make. So if you say, for example, you want to aim for a 30% profit margin, if you're selling at £10, that's only £3 of profit, which might be 3 or 4 clicks of PPC and then your profit is gone. If you're selling at £30 and you've got a 30% profit margin, that's about £9. That's a lot more clicks that you've got available before you hit break even. So this is why going to higher value products that have a higher actual profit margin, not just percentage profit margin, gives you more flexibility with PPC and being able to make money selling on Amazon. Next up, passive income potential. This is one of the big selling points that a lot of the course sellers use. I'll start an Amazon FBA business. You can make passive income. Can you make passive income with Amazon FBA? Initially, there is a lot of upfront work. You need to do the research to fully understand the model. You need to find a product, you need to source it, you need to test it, you need to develop it, you need to create the listing, do the keyword research, optimize it, launch it, etc. That takes quite a bit of work and it takes quite a bit of time. But once you have launched a product, it can become very, very passive. For some of my products, I maybe only spend 1 to 2 hours per month. Like, that is how little time you can spend on a product that is established. So it does have passive income potential, but there is certainly upfront work. So I think that's a pretty fair trade-off, doing that work upfront, and then you get to the point where you could be making thousands of pounds per month from these products from only an hour or two of time. It's a pretty good setup, and it's one of the reasons why Amazon FBA is appealing. But don't think it's a case you're just going to invest some money and then you're going to make money. You're going to have to put that upfront work in before you can get to the passive income potential stage. And then finally, the future prospects of Amazon. Like I mentioned, fees are higher than they've ever been. It's become pay to play. So what are the future prospects looking like? Well, I'm still doing really well on Amazon. My wife started her Amazon FBA business last year. She's doing well. And I've mentored hundreds of people over the last 7 years. And all of the people that I'm mentoring at the moment are doing well and they're finding products. So the potential is still very much there. In the UK, 90% of online shoppers use Amazon. And 13 million people in this country have active Prime memberships. They are paying to be Amazon customers. They are paying to be your customers. Over 60% of products sold on Amazon aren't sold by Amazon itself. They're sold by private sellers like me, and hopefully like you if you decide to start an Amazon FBA business. So there is still huge potential there. Yes, it's not as easy as it used to be, but in some ways that's good. It creates a real barrier to entry to people that don't have much budget or people that aren't taking this business serious. So I see Amazon FBA still has huge potential. I still expect to be selling on Amazon for many years to come at this rate, hopefully, unless Amazon introduce some new fees, who knows, that mess everything up. So finally, I've got 3 things to wrap up this video. Number 1, if I haven't put you off starting an Amazon FBA business, there's a link to my course in the pinned top comment and description. But the final 2 things, for those of you that don't want to invest in a course, the first thing I'm going to pop up is a video showing you step by step everything you need to do to start your own Amazon FBA business and make £2,000 per month. So I'm going to pop that up now. And the next video I'm going to pop up is going to show you how to find your first product today. And I'll see you guys over there.